Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me. I'm joined by In Your Walls, incredible band. I think it's. Are you based in Toronto, or where do you hail from? What's the?
Toronto, Scarborough for some of us.
Yeah, GTA.
Yeah.
But we can say Toronto. It's easier.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So happy that you guys were able to join the Indie Distributor podcast. I'm Kevin. I'm the host. I work with the Indie Distributor, and I'm also in a band myself called Shoemaker Levy. But we wanted to wanted to ask some questions about what we've seen each other at Gusapalooza, and that's been fabulous to be able to catch your set. But was hoping to be able to get a little bit more information from all of you about kind of how things came to be. And the first question I normally ask is, okay, how did it get started? Because any music documentary I watch, I'm always mostly enthralled about the coming up story, like how things sort of came together. And that's usually where music documentaries kind of gloss over it really fast. So yeah, maybe we could start there as to like, how did things get started off with you folks?
So we were all going to Western University, and actually Carter and Ryan have been in bands together their whole lives, basically. They're like soulmate bandmates.
That's cool.
So I had this band going and then needed to like find some new people. So thankfully Ryan was interested, and it's a blessing to have him in the band. And then we got Drew like a year ago, and it's just awesome. Like, he's a great drummer, and we all went to Western, so it's sick. Like, we have that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And was this something that you all kind of had going on in the background? You've always been working in bands. Drew, I guess you've been well, except for Carter's been snowboarding and also in a band.
Yeah.
But is this something that's always been kind of that you've thought you wanted to do, or it just sort of started to take shape in the last few years?
Yeah, no, always loved music. Was always interested, always in bands. So being a drummer, like, I'm always wanted. So makes me feel good about myself.
I feel like I can speak for everyone here and say this is something we've always wanted to do, like knowing all of us, even though like In Your Walls really only took form as you see it now a year ago, like Bridget said, when Drew joined the band.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been in bands growing. Well, I guess not as much Bridget, but Bridget was always a musician and you were always playing music, but you've always wanted to write music and be in a band. So I think like with all of us, like, I mean, like Bridget said as well, Carter and I played in bands. I met him in grade 9, basically. So we've been playing in bands since grade 9. And then we all, like, I met Drew in university and then kind of introduced him. And Bridget, Carter, and I were living together, and we hosted a party. And then Drew came over and we found Drew and Carter in the basement jamming while the party was going on upstairs.
Yeah.
Rather be down here.
Yeah.
That's funny. Nice.
Yeah. That's kind of all came to be.
Thanks, Ryan. That's cool. I love origin stories like that. It's great to see how things sort of kicked off. So I have to ask, like, what the name? What's the significance, and where did that sort of originate?
It's like, picture this: you're standing on stage, and you say, "We are in your walls."
Okay.
That is the meaning.
And then people look around and they're like, "Oh shit, I gotta go check my home."
It's memorable, you know?
Yeah.
None of us were the ones who even came up with that. Like, because I remember when Bridget started this band, I wasn't in it, Ryan wasn't in it, Drew wasn't in it, and it was just like these little jam sessions in like this church, and a guy was playing keys on it and just came up with that name, and then
really
kind of went with it, and then now it's kind of stuck.
Yeah.
No, I like that. It's quirky. It's like, I also meant to ask about the lyrics, because there seems to be, in some cases, there's this sort of ethereal space theme that sort of underlies some of the material. And is that a conscious choice, or just things kind of move that way when you're writing?
For Space Craze, the first like really space song. No, it wasn't a conscious choice. I like create these stories in my head and then I get really into it and then I'm just like imagining what's happening and then I don't know, we're in space, so that's why. And then we have a new space song called Men from Mars.
Yes.
And then I was like, what if this was like a sequel? And what if Martians like invaded the Earth? So that's like me making the story about what it is.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And so, and then it sort of ties into some different other themes, like obviously with your new single Blue. Is that sort of tying into the same type of ideas or is kind of taking things in a different direction? I'm a lyric person, so it's always like, I'm always interested
Okay.
in how, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. For me, that's a different like universe.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it could be the same because I just write. I'm not in control of how it's perceived, in my opinion.
Okay.
But to me, everything is related to like things I experience, but it's abstracted. So
Mhm.
Blue is like related to like living life and just working a job. But in this fictional universe, the government entity has put out a news broadcast that they've changed the color blue. And you're like, what the fuck? Why'd they change blue? Like, this is going to affect everything in my day-to-day life. What am I going to do? But you have no control over it. And then the government's like, yeah, it's fine. And the economy is great. So that is like the story of Blue.
Got it. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that sort of helps things. And I know what you mean about not necessarily having control over how lyrics are perceived, or maybe it's, because someone else's interpretation might be completely different based on how you envisioned it when it first came to life, right? Which is part of the beauty of music, I think.
Yeah, that's why whenever someone asks like what the meaning of the song is, I feel like the answer is always like, well, what do you think? You know, like instead of us trying to say what it is.
Absolutely.
Complex because it's different for me than it is for Carter and like even for Bridget or Drew, so like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that. So, and I think, was that one of the songs that you cut at Beach Road, or are there different songs that sent? What was that experience like?
It was sick. It was insane. Like you walk in and you're just like, it's your dream since you're a kid to record an album in such an amazing studio when you have your own band house with a band. Like it's so cool. And like, I don't know, you've seen his pictures. He's got the wall of guitars. Like it's all like, that is ethereal in itself. So like and so it's like this huge cathedral like building. It was awesome. So like the experience was great. We had gone in to the studio to record this upcoming album that's coming out in April with like 30 songs, and then narrowing it down to 10 was like hard, but also kind of a fun like way to figure out what we should do and what we're going to do in the studio. So it was like not much songwriting experimentation because we had written like the songs, but it was more of like sonically how we were going to experiment with different sounds and stuff. So it was awesome.
So you had 30 songs going into the studio, and you mentioned having to whittle that down to 10. Does that mean that you're intending to make that into an actual long play, like an actual album?
Yeah, the 10 songs. Yeah.
And then Blue is the first single from that set?
Yeah, that was Men from Mars was the first, and then Blue is the second. Then we've got one called Jaded coming out soon, but the album we're planning to release in April.
Excellent.
10 song.
Nice. So what was the process like to determine which songs made it and which songs did not?
It was...
Or have you decided yet?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we decided I think going into it, because we started writing, I think, so far in advance. But by the time it got to the studio, we were like, we're going to have everything figured out. All the 10 songs are going to be locked down. We know every single detail of it. But we still, like going into it, I think we only had like 7 songs nailed down for sure. So we had to choose the last 25% of the album while we were there.
Nice.
which was interesting, but it was fun.
Yeah, I can see that being so ultimately what was behind the decision to select the songs? Was it because they were more connected with each other, or did you have input from Siegfried, or was it, how did that come to be?
Well, I'd say Sig was good with this. He was like, I'm gonna let you guys, he wanted us to figure it out because he saw that if he's really gave his opinion, it would create a bias, you know, because we kind of see him as like, you know, the great, you know, but yeah. So it was us trying to figure it out. I don't know, Carter, what were you gonna say?
Well, yeah, something similar, but it was I don't know, it was fun because even songs like Blue wasn't going to be on the album until like the last little bit of the studio. We were like had like a few songs left, and we were like, okay, what did we want to do? And Blue wasn't supposed to be on the album, but then we kind of rewrote it and rearranged it the day we were recording it, or
Wow.
like the day before. So I don't know, it felt kind of not random, but we were just kind of feeling it out and what we wanted to. Like I feel like there wasn't any like logic or like any like structure behind it. We kind of just went with like the feeling of it.
I love that, and that ends up being the second, you know, track that leads up to it, right? Single release.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I was interested in, you know, that wasn't even a song that you intended to have on the record, and then all of a sudden it takes second spot. So, and obviously there's the accompaniment, the video for Men from Mars, which looked like it was a hell of a lot of fun. That's something that a lot of indie bands struggle with, is determining not just, you know, you know, making a decision about doing a video, like where is it going to come from? Where's the idea going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? All those types of things. So tell us about like how that decision-making process happened, and what was, you know, how did you plan that out?
I have a dog named Libby who,
makes a star appearance.
We were kind of like, oh shit, what are we gonna do for this video? But we wanted to do one, especially for the first single, and we knew that like Men from Mars was a song that was gonna hopefully, like we were hoping to grab people's attentions, and so it only made sense to do a video that went along with it. And then we were kind of like stuck on certain ideas of what we were gonna do for it, but then I don't even know who it was that came out. It was probably Bridget, I feel like, who was like, do you want, we should get Libby to come into the video. And then it was like these men from Mars are coming to steal Libby, and then we got to take her back, kind of thing. And like the song in itself, like we said before, you can find your own meaning in the song, but if you look at it face value, you can look at it as kind of a fun song, even though but you can find deeper meaning into it. So I don't want to say it's just a silly song, because it's not, but we wanted to take that route with the video of making it kind of like a quote unquote silly video that went along with the theme of that, of the song kind of thing, you know. And aliens taking your dog is kind of like part of it, and and then we were like, okay, well, we kind of like the 90s film style, like E.T. kind of thing, so we wanted, you know, the camera work to look like that, and then the laser guns, you know, like all of it is like, yeah. But it was basically, we're fortunate enough for Bridget to have the connection of her cousin, who's also, his name is Ryan, and he was the producer of that video, and also the main videographer, and the only videographer for that video as well. So he helped us a lot with the narrative and the different scenes and everything.
Okay. Yeah. I wondered, because it looked like there was a lot of thought that actually went into the different sequences. You know, you didn't just throw it together, right? It's so did you find that it was kind of difficult to commit to the video aspect of the song, given that, you know, it's you wanted to keep the deeper meaning, but then there's kind of this sort of layer of like, again, we don't want to say silly, but did you find that it was a bit of a challenge to have like the video version interpretation and then the song interpretation, or how did that feel?
I feel like it was, because Ryan said, you know, if you take the song as face value, like yeah, again, like you don't want to say it's a silly song, but it can be interpreted that way. And I feel like in that sense, in keeping like the spirit of that, to try and not take everything like too seriously, you know, and just once we kind of decided on what the video was going to be, she's like, yeah, that's all it is. That's what it's going to be. We're going to have fun with it. We're going to try and make it as best as possible, like best as we can. And like not putting so much pressure on it. Even with like, in the same way as different people will interpret the song differently, like different people will interpret the video differently, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I feel like trying to take the pressure off yourself to deliver meaning and just kind of let the audience do that for themselves is a big part of it.
I like the way you put that. Yeah. Seems like it's probably similar thing that happened with the single Blue, given that you sort of took the pressure off in a way and just sort of let the song do what it needed to do. And then it became something, you know, a life of its own. Yeah.
Definitely.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely. But we were definitely also fortunate to have Ryan Bro help us with that video.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun and it came together well. And of course, having a dog as the protagonist is always an advantage for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm glad that no animals were harmed during the making of the.
None. It was good. She got many treats. We can promise you that.
She looked quite content at the end.
Yeah. Yes.
So you mentioned, you know, bringing 30 songs into the studio. Presumably, a lot of those songs were written over the course of quite a few years. Let's say.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. Like we really got into it January when like me and Carter like we were living together and like with Bridget as well, and then Carter and I had separate rooms, and I put my bed into his room with all of my clothes, and we turned my room into a studio. When me, Carter, and Bridget shared a room for 4 months, and so we had so that we can write this album in the separate room, and like it was literally in our basement in London, and like every day, like I skipped so many classes that last semester of school because it'd be like I'd be in there with Bridget or Carter or something, and I'd be like, oh, like we're so like I'm in the zone with this song, and then it's like I've got class in like 10 minutes. Oh, I'm not going. Fuck it. Like we'll write this song. So it was really like 4 months. Honestly, was the big chunk of when all the songs were written.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then as far as polishing them, like, is it mostly like you brought in the version? I mean, was Blue kind of the exception, not the rule? Did most of them come together and then you brought them to the studio and was like, yep, this is the way that we're laying it down?
Yeah, I feel like Blue was the exception. Yeah.
Huh.
Most of them were written like heavily in that basement, like on Logic, just on my laptop and like recording it. And I had an electric drum kit that I brought from home, and so like all the demos were made in there, and then from that you know, we had gotten some outside opinion on what people liked and what we thought we liked, but in general, yeah. But it like when we had recorded White Lightning, he had said to us like that he wanted to do an album with us and we wanted to do that, and he said, come to me with 30 songs and then you pick 10. And so like we really made an effort to do that, and it was a lot of work, but wow, we're very happy with how it turned out. Honestly, like it was definitely worth it.
And
because the first 10 songs that we wrote, if that was just the album on its own, then definitely wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, no.
Well, one other thing is we also did play so many shows in the summer, and then we recorded the album, so we were practicing a lot, and like songs kind of change just from playing them a lot, and like they become better because little parts like will just change to make more sense.
Yeah, and the advantage of getting audience reaction too, if you're basically unveiling those to a live audience, in some cases that can be a real advantage.
Definitely. Yeah, like even now we're noticing little differences in how we're getting mixes back from the album. We're like, damn, we played it like that, but now it's like changed ever so slightly of how we play it live now, even though it's already been recorded, you know. But that's cool. I think that's fun.
No, it is.
The same as the recorded, you know.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that diversity because even though the audience will expect to hear the song the way that they're familiar with it in the studio interpretation, as a band, sometimes you get a little bit like not bored, but you want to sort of play some things around and you know, yeah, there's been some situations where the guys and I have been like, I wish we had done that in the studio. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like,
but you have to appreciate it for what it is, the differences. I think that's like cool in itself, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, obviously the record's the big next thing. You said it was, the plan is to release that in April. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you have to support the record? Are you doing a tour? What's on tap for the summer?
We're gonna do our version of a tour because it's DIY, and we're gonna play Ontario and then go out east all
Nice.
the way to Nova Scotia, PEI. And we have a band that we know from there, so they are giving us like advice, and hopefully we're gonna play with them a little bit on the tour.
Excellent.
And we're really just reaching out to a lot of bands that we've met and trying to play with friends again, you know, have it be super fun.
Love that. So that's taking shape then. It's not tour dates haven't necessarily been nailed down. It's something that you're still building. Is that right?
Yeah, but there's some dates. So
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as they come together, obviously, let the Indie Distributor folks know, and we'll be getting the word out about that.
Sweet, thanks.
And then, of course, tying things together with knowing that we want to encourage indie musicians of all types. What's some of the stuff that you have learned going through, you know, the phases that you have in the writing process or the playing process, or any advice that you'd want to give indie musicians as they're just kind of getting started out?
Never give up. No, play as much as possible and play with as many people as possible, and create shows with people that you enjoy playing with, because you will play better if you're hanging out with people you really like. So, you know, and really enjoy it. You know what I mean? If you're not enjoying it, you know, switch something up, you know, figure it out, you know?
Nice. I like that. Anyone else have advice to impart?
can I give advice specifically to women?
Yes.
Because honestly, right now there's still so many men in music and the indie bands. Just know you might think that you're not good enough, but you definitely are. Because I was very intimidated, and still I get intimidated because that's just the kind of person I am, and I'm shy, and I have like social anxiety sometimes, but I love playing music. So you can be exactly who you are. You don't have to be like, I'm a strong woman and be all this girl boss attitude if it really feels intimidating. You can just go in and be a girl that plays guitar, and that's enough.
Love that. And great advice, because we've all seen that evidence of that for sure. And I think that the more encouragement we can put into the industry, the better. I think that's fabulous. Anybody else?
Maybe just keep. I mean, it's kind of like Drew said, don't give up. And as corny as that is, I feel like it is very true. Like, or like my version of that is just like keep doing stuff. Like always stay like active, I guess. Like try and not let like a little bit of like a month go by where you don't do anything. Just like keep going. Always stay active.
Nice. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say that collaboration can be hard. Like it really can. Having 4 people on board and with the same ideas and wanting to do and the same thing and like trying to figure it out with 4 people and something that everyone cares so much about, it can be really challenging, but it's important to remind yourself that you're all working towards the same common goal, and don't get all like, oh my gosh, well, we disagree with this, but we're trying to figure this out. Like, that's all normal, and that's part of the process. Like, we're all working towards something we really care about, so we're all going to be passionate about it. And so I would say a big tip is like accept that these little differences and opinions and things, and work on just collaborating together, because you're all going towards the same goal. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I love that. Yeah. And that goal is what?
That goal is to make a living doing this shit. Honestly, like, we love it so
Fair.
much. Like being able to support yourself doing this and playing music full time and not having to worry about we all love it. I just want to.
Yeah. I mean, I want to make enough money to like fund my fingerboard addiction, so I can like keep doing kickflips with my fingers. And like, you know, being able to like buy a bunch of like frozen pizzas, you know, stuff like that.
And drumsticks.
Drumsticks too. Posters.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Very commendable aspirations right there.
Thank you.
That's fabulous. So excellent. So we'll be watching for the record, of course, and then tour announcements. But yeah, it's been excellent having you all on and talking about you know, kind of what's next and how things progressed. So we'll be watching for announcements, and yeah, I must thank you all very much for taking part in the video.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting it together.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.